This is the Tuesday, July 28th edition of the Dark Illumination Report Podcast Extra, and on today's episode, I'm going to be answering a question from Despania, who asked if I have any advice for somebody getting back into Satanism after a long absence.
This is a Dark Illumination Report Extra with RJ Womack.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for another episode of the podcast. This is RJ Womack, aka Brother Nero, and this is the Dark Illumination Report podcast, the podcast where we promote the religious worship of Satan and demons as a serious faith and way of life, and we try to pass that on to younger, newer diabolists. Well, this is the post-Hannah edition of the podcast. That's Hurricane Hannah. For those of you who may be wondering, Hurricane Hannah went in about 70 miles south of where I live, so there really was no major damage. We had a few trees uprooted, we lost power, and we got a lot of water. For me personally, there was very little damage. My power didn't even go out. It flickered on and off a few times, but other than that, nothing really happened. And normally the power here goes out here pretty often, so I expected to be without power in the internet for a few days. That's why I recorded a few episodes in advance and also told you guys that I might be unavailable. But as it turned out, nothing major happened. It was just a Category 1 hurricane, so I mean it wasn't a big deal to start with, but it was, even that we topped out at about 74-mile-an-hour winds, and with the rain beating on the door and with the wind blowing constantly for about 12 hours at about 74 miles an hour, it's still a little bit disturbing. So don't make the mistake in believing that just because a storm is a Category 1, it's not something to be worried about. We had boats thrown up on the land, even though we were only in about 70-mile-an-hour winds or 75-mile-an-hour winds. We had piers that were broken apart and things like that. So it can be dangerous. I was just, we were just lucky. It just happened to go in 70 miles south of us, so we missed all the bad stuff. So in that sense, we were lucky. But anyway, I want to get into the main topic today of answering Despania's question. But before I do that, I want to say a couple of things. If you've written to me and I haven't responded to you, please don't take offense. Please don't think I'm avoiding you or avoiding your comments. It's just been really busy. I'm trying to focus more on my writing and trying to get these books finished. I'm also really working hard to get things moving with the podcast and with the ministry. So I am working on stuff. I'm working extremely hard. So if I don't respond to you, please don't take it personally. Just bear with me, okay? I do read all the comments that everybody makes on the videos. I do read all the emails that you leave me. And as the podcast is getting bigger and more well-known, I'm getting a lot more mail than I used to get. So I have a lot of mail to respond to. I also wanted to add some information to the podcast that I made about consecrating your ritual space. Somebody pointed out that I didn't mention how to consecrate a space when you had carpet in the room, and I forgot to mention that. I should have, but I didn't. So the best thing, or the thing that most people do, is they tend to take powdered incense and they spread it on the carpet and then they vacuum it up, or they take herbal incense and they break it up and they use whatever herbs corresponds with whatever demons they're working with or whatever they feel is most appropriate offering for Satan, or they'll use the powdered incense that feels most appropriate. That's how you do it. And now let me get into the question about that Despania had, which is, do you have any advice for somebody who's getting back into Satanism that's new? Let me just say, first of all, what you're doing already is good. Pray every day, study a little bit every day, and don't miss a day. Be consistent in your practices. Be different from most people. Practice every single day. Study every day. Be different than the 99%. Be that 1% that actually lives and practices what you preach. That is so important. And make sure you live the religion, not just theorize about it on the computer. So many people go out and they talk about Satanism and they talk about magic, but they don't actually practice magic. And that's one of the most important things that I'm trying to achieve through this podcast, is I'm trying to encourage people to actually live and practice what they preach, not just talk about it. And the other thing I would say to you is, once you get into your regular practice And once you get into your regular study routine, create a habit and do it every day without fail. And remember that no one can give you a relationship with Satan. No one can build that relationship for you. No one can accept you but Satan or the demons themselves. So don't worry about what anyone else has to say about your relationship with Satan. Don't worry about pleasing anyone else. And just remember, this is also the other advice that I would give to anybody listening to this podcast. I always say to people that I think of my job as a minister as being a guide, kind of a Sherpa, a shaman, more than a priest in the traditional sense. Because a guide, a Sherpa, a shaman, he doesn't tell you what to believe or exactly how to believe. He just gives you advice and guidance because he understands that the relationship you're building is between you and the spirits. He's just giving you advice based on experiences he's had or based on the experiences of others, things that he's witnessed himself, right? But he can't build that relationship for you. I can't build that relationship for you. I can't make those connections with Satan for you, and neither can anyone else. That's the key point. So you should never be paying anybody to do rituals for you. You should do them yourself. You should never pay anybody to make contact with Satan for you. And I'm not saying that Despaigne does that. I'm saying other people have written to me and said, I paid somebody to do rituals for me and they ripped me off. Don't pay someone else to do your rituals for you. The relationship is between you and Satan, and that is the most important thing. So in addition to your daily practice routine, in addition to your regular study, make sure that you understand that the relationship between you and Satan is a personal one, and it is between you and him and no one else. And if anyone else tries to tell you that they have the magical formula to make Satan respond to you, if someone else tells you that, if you read my book or you buy my book or you do this or you do that they can give you the answers, or if you only give me $1,500 for this seminar, I can make you a master magician. If you have people around you telling you that, or you're dealing with people that are telling you that, they're snake oil salesmen, they're bullshitters, they're dishonest con men, they're carnies. Don't listen to them. Remember, Satan is the only one that can grant his gifts and his knowledge. Satan is the only one that can reveal the spirit world to you, as far as revealing himself to you. No one can do that for you, and no amount of money can buy that for you. You can't buy a relationship with the demons. You have to earn it. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Hope that helps somebody. Take care of yourself. May Satan be with you. I hope everybody's doing well. And as always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my opinions. I know there are many opinions out there. And if you like what we do here and you appreciate this podcast, please tell somebody. Please give us a review. Please let somebody know about our mission and our message. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Illumination Report podcast. For the latest news headlines, show information, and more, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com.